We are live.
Alright guys, welcome to tonight's first episode of What's the Word. My guest tonight, for one, the only, Drea.
Yep.
Do you prefer Drea or Andrea, Lady Ulfen?
I think Drea.
Drea?
Yeah.
Yeah? Where does that come from? Is that her rebellious kind of side, not going with the full name?
Yeah. I mean, obviously she was named Andrea, but she never felt like she was given a choice. So for her, choosing Drea instead is her version of reclaiming
it's
that
not really
name.
far from Drea though, is it?
No, but I mean, she's literate. She doesn't have,
True. No, very
Yeah, she can't really read. Oh, yeah, that's a nice day.
No, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Alright, so for our viewers that don't know, you have been literally through hell and back, right? You have seen the end of the world, seen the Ever-Chosen destroy everything, your father, and technically,
but
it's complicated, guys.
you have to watch the episodes.
Yeah. But, you know, I always wondered, especially when we were making Drea, who would have Drea been if she didn't go through what she'd gone through? If she had been raised up by Rosalind, or sorry, not Rosalind, her actual parents, that she doesn't know, raised up in a normal life, how would she be?
You know, I think that's something that Drea thinks about often, because Drea has acknowledged that her as an infant is alive in the world that she is in. And she always, I think, wonders what would happen if she just went and took her, you know? What if she, like you said, gave her to Rosalind to raise? Like, what kind of person would she end up being, or would she somehow still end up in the position that she's in? You know? I think...
Well, what do you see for her? Would she have been an apothecary like Rosalind? Would
100%.
she have?
I think she would have really loved being a true druid, going and studying, medicine, just being connected to her religion, to her nature, to the world around her, and using that to help others and teach others. But unfortunately, with the circumstances that she's been through, she's now on the opposite path in this world. Does that make sense?
But is that not a good thing in a way? Like the Drea that we know today and the Drea that we obviously created, you know, she is such a powerful, badass character, right?
Thank you.
And she would never have been that way.
No.
So if you had a choice of playing a Drea that was, you know, naive to the world, still had her innocence, was happy, I guess, compared to the Drea that you play now, what would you choose?
I think I would choose this Drea. I think there's so much more depth to this Drea and so much rawness to her. Yeah. It's quite interesting to play, because even I sometimes don't know what will come up.
Drea meets Drea. What happens?
One's going to kill the other.
Yeah, well, we know which one, but
Yeah.
how would, you know, if Drea today saw Drea that hadn't been through shit, do you think she would like her, befriend her? Would she pity her? Would she think that she's weak?
I think she would almost despise her for the fact that she has had the life that she could have had, but also for the fact that, like you said, almost pity of like, well, she's weak. She's, you know, chained by her beliefs that she's so, what's the word, like, refrained, you know? Whereas I feel like, Drea now has so much freedom to do, well, anything in her mind now. What is stopping her? She's gone through the worst things that she will ever go through.
You call that freedom though? Like, you know, she's already seen what happens, and as we know, when you left the last timeline, the old ones told you not to meddle.
Yeah.
So isn't that almost another form of prison? Like you already know what's going to happen, and you can only meddle with certain things.
I think that's what makes Drea special, though, that for so long she has followed so many rules, and the last one being the old ones, obviously. Whereas now she's gone to a point, I think, where she has realised her own power and her own impact on the world that now she's trying to change something.
Yeah.
Even though she knows she's not supposed to meddle, but it's kind of like, well, what's worse than the end of the world? You know, what more could happen?
Very true.
Yeah.
If all right, let's talk about the other players for a bit.
Yeah.
So you have your brother,
My brother.
which things have mended. You'd say are pretty good.
Yeah, on the mend in a way.
Yeah.
I think it's a very interesting relationship where it's never truly good nor never truly bad.
Hmm. All right. What about the two new players? That's what I want to hear about. You've got a young tabaxi, rebellious,
Yeah.
and you have a strong, mysterious. I don't want to say controlling, but stern, I guess would be the word. Sylvanas entering the group now.
I think Drea is curious about both. However, for Jace, I think with the short amount of time she spent with him, she almost sympathizes with him. Like, obviously, what he's going after and the things that he's shared with them. I think she feels as though she understands, although it's a very different circumstance. She wants to help, and it's interesting though because Jace is around her age. She doesn't actually know how to connect, and we see Drea try that. And with Jace being so Jace, it's quite hard for her, you know.
Even though he's your age, you know, in my kind of sense of view, Drea seems a lot older, right?
Yeah,
She's a lot more mature.
100%.
Jace has, even though he's a good kid, he has a lot of naive ideas about the world and a lot of ideas of, you know, I can change this, I can do this.
Whereas Drea, I think is more literal because she has seen what's happened. Yeah, I get what you mean.
It's definitely, it's interesting. Do you think we'll see them become close or like real close?
I'm not sure. I feel like they might clash in some aspects, whereas in other aspects they will work well together. But I'm interested to see what will happen.
Do you think Drea, you know, would want Jace as a friend? Someone that sticks around permanently?
I think so. I think because ultimately what Jace is after aligns with what Drea is trying to do. And for her, she can, I mean, it sounds kind of bad, but she can use Jace to understand other things that will ultimately benefit her. You know, the information, because Jace lives in it, whereas she is still new to this whole world. Silver, she's curious about, because obviously he spent more time with her brother than Drea, so she's only had a few encounters with him, and she's quite curious to understand, I think. Why is Sylvanas the way he is?
So is she, you know, is it something that she's interested in, or is it more he's just around?
I feel like he's just around, but for Drea, it's always wanting to find out whether or not people are a friend or a foe. And although she may not want to admit it, she does now care about her brother and wants to also, you know, count his safety and his, you know. Although she doesn't want to, it's always in the back of her head of, is this person safe to be around? Is this person possibly someone I have to deal with? Or someone I can use?
Well, I don't think it has been like this, but Drea and Bjorn, you know, there was obviously the gap that we had between season 2 and season 3, which we'll write up for you guys to see what kind of happened. But obviously they had their own little mini adventure where it was just those two.
Yeah.
You know, from my perspective, like DM's perspective, it seems like they've bonded well, kind of together, but also with the rest of the group. But do you think Drea prefers it when it was just them two, or is there safety in numbers? You know,
I think for Drea it is safety in numbers. Like she loved traveling with Bjorn. I think they found a way to work together. But I think for Drea it's more emotional that there's safety in numbers, because the more she is alone with Bjorn, the more he will find out. And for her, there's always that fear of,
so there's other people
he will hate something.
Yeah,
you know?
so there's other people that can distract Bjorn.
100%.
If Bjorn wasn't your brother, do you think they'd get along? Drea and Bjorn would get along?
I'm not sure.
I mean, he did mind spike you.
Yeah, I feel like there's almost a bond between them that is beyond them both. You know, despite everything that's happened between them, there is still that bond. But if they weren't related, I mean, Drea in the start did not at all want to be friends with him. You know, when she first entered the campaign, without even getting to know Bjorn, she had an opinion of him. Of, this man is so up himself, this man is someone who's not my friend.
So would you have given him the chance though if, you know, he wasn't your brother, like let's say same situation? Would you have given him a chance to find out who he really is, or you think?
I don't think so.
It can be
I think the reason Drea has bonded with him was because of that time between season 2 and season 3 where we wrote it up, so we'll share it with you guys on Patreon. But she saw a side of Bjorn that I think made her realise that he's more than his father's son. That he was also affected by his father, you know?
He really puts up a facade, doesn't he?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think in a way, that time together made her realise that as angry as she is at Boulder for what he put her through, in a way he's also done the same to Bjorn.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I think they're both interesting characters in their own way.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. I remember when we were creating Drea and the idea came to us.
Yeah.
We were just like, it just fit so perfect that you were his sister, you didn't know, blah, 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 all that. It just worked so perfect, especially with, obviously, when Boulder was still with us, you know, with what Boulder did, it opened the opportunity for us to do that. But I think it's really gone even more than that. You know, it's gone from an epic surprise to now a brand new story of them two coming together, learning to tolerate and love each other, and now fight together to take on their dad, right? Like, it's a cool story.
Yeah, and I think it's so interesting because I think they both have different perspectives on it. You know, Drea wants her revenge and wants what she went through to essentially make Boulder feel worse, you know, for all that she went through. Whereas I feel like Bjorn is on a journey of forgiveness, of understanding. So it's interesting, I think, that they can work together but also have very different views.
Yeah, definitely. All right, last question.
Yes.
If he wasn't a lizard,
Yes.
which was completely, I don't even know how we came up with that.
Pascal from Tangled.
Ah, that's right. Yeah, we ripped it off.
Yeah.
It's a thing you do in D&D, just rip off.
Yeah.
people's
We
ideas.
created it as our own. Though.
Yeah. Well, he's obviously a lot different, a lot cooler.
Yeah.
But if he wasn't a lizard, what would he be?
Oh, personally, as Mira, I would love a cat. A druid and a cat, just such a good combo.
Obviously, Mira has a cat, Cassian. We'll put him up on our socials one day.
He is as in real life.
Yeah, she loves him. A cat. Do you think that, I don't know, like as works, because obviously there's a lot of movement, he's tiny, he can hang on to you and, you know, but a cat is pretty hard to kind of pick up and walk into a tavern, right?
That's true, yeah.
So it would be interesting to see how that would change. Obviously it would open up a lot of different things though, being a cat, being sneaky, being, you know, stuff like that. But
I just think a cat would be so fun to play with. Also, as obviously a druid, to wild shape into a cat and then work together with my cat.
Yeah, that's
How
a good
cool,
idea.
right?
Yeah, we should maybe do that.
For my next character, when you kill me.
Yeah, alright, done. Easy. Well, thanks for joining us, guys. Thank you, Drea, for joining us. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We'll ask us any questions, any comments for any other players. Let us know in the comments down below, guys. And we'll see you guys next week in our tavern for another episode of What's the Wyrd. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
So, did you think